and we'll okay. So hey, we're going live today because we were just having a conversation offline. I got bees in my bonnet. I've been looking at data for the last 2 days. Greg went and listened to that Radio Lab episode about how the different ways that Trump can try and steal this election. It doesn't even cover all of them. There's a lot, and of course those come into play if it's close. I want to try with 270 to win and everything we know. I want to try and see if we can game it out so that Trump wins. Okay.
Yeah.
And sort of show what would need to happen if
excuse me,
Trump to win, and how unbelievably like just ridiculously unlikely that is. Anyway, welcome to coffee at noon.
Nice hair. Dave Myers, what the hell is going on?
Sorry, like screwing everything up. Okay, so
I woke up this morning to a message from Corey asking if I wanted to go live. So I had to. I slept in, so I had to do an hour or so of getting things ready to running errands. So yes, we know it's an off day. There's nothing like the world has not ended yet, but we wanted to go live and talk about anxiety and how to work through it today.
So Greg, talk to me about why you just listened to the thing. Let's dig into it. Let's triple down on anxiety right now. What has you worried?
All right, like here's the thing, I've been feeling this way for 3-4 weeks now. Like I really began to feel like the election itself, like the voting, like the numbers, like the turnout is going our way. Right, I'm feeling really good about that. I'm feeling like we are going to win the states that we have to win. Granted, that means that those of you who haven't yet voted have to vote. I'll give you, for instance, Saturday or Sunday, I posted, "Hey, polls are open, early voting polls in Pasco are open till 7:00 today. Go vote." And 2 people in that thread went, "Oh, they didn't know polls were open. They went and voted Sunday afternoon." That's the kind of thing we need to all be doing. Right, we all need to be talking to all of our friends in our circle of people. Hey, if you turn in that ballot, it's too late to turn it in, to mail it now. You need to go turn it in person. You need to go turn it in at an early voting location and vote. So I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling good about turnout. I'm not sure how things are going to go in Pasco County specifically, but the turnout is high, and that favors us. Okay, so that's the stuff I feel good about. But against my own judgment, I sat down and listened to the Radio Lab podcast that Corey mentioned last week, which is basically a set of warning scenarios for how this could go. And the ways in which Trump can win, almost all now boil down to stealing the election. Okay, and there are some things in that matrix that make me very, very nervous. I am a Florida voter since 1984, I think was the first presidential election I voted in. So I was a voter here in the Bush-Gore election. And essentially what happened was the Supreme Court, the state decided to stop counting. There was a lawsuit to keep them counting. And the Supreme Court just said, no, stop counting. The election is over. Bush has won. Now, what's the specific moment we're in, what makes me nervous about that, is 3 members of that Bush legal team in the 2000 election were Chief Justice John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh. They were lawyers for the Bush team in the 2000 election. So my feeling is if it gets to a Supreme Court fight over this election, they're going to steal it. And I think I know that they know that as what we do. They are tacticians and strategists, and they are going to do everything they can to stop vote counting wherever they can. They're already attempting that in many states. Is Greg choppy for everyone?
Actually, you just started sounding better. But until then, you were choppy almost that whole time, but it sounds better now.
Okay, so the point is the theft of the election is what's making me nervous. That's what's giving me anxiety. And I'm trying to make everybody else feel better. And it's not easy to do when I'm also. Should I try and unplug this and plug it back in?
No, it's fine. The second that I open my mouth,
seeing comments.
No, it's delayed. You've sounded good since I brought it up.
I gotcha. Okay. So my point is that I share your anxiety, and I don't know how to make you feel better. Except what I've been telling people is this is one of the lessons I learned from working with Corey for these years. Is when I'm having a problem with something, when anybody's having a problem, what Corey says, okay, what can you do about it? Right? What's the actions that you can take to correct that? And the answer is get involved in efforts to get out the vote, to do ballot chase, which is the art of calling people who have not yet turned in their mail-in ballots and remind them on the phone to do so. You can do that with friends you know. You could also do that through organizations like the Florida Democratic Party for Our Future. There are lots of organizations right now that are doing text banking and phone banking designed to get that vote out. That's what you can do. And I will tell you that while you may have personal anxiety, while you're on the phone helping other people, your anxiety will be lessened. Right. And at the end of the day, when everything's out of our control, there are some things that are in our control. And getting people out to vote that's the thing that you can do right now. The more people vote, the greater the margin, the less likely it is that state legislators or other actors can pull off after the election by stopping the count. If they get overwhelming on election day, that it's pointless to continue, then they'll have to accept the results of the election. The reason it worked in 2000 is because it was so close that there was lots of ambiguity. And that's just the way elections are. That's the way our elections are. Can we talk later about changing the Electoral College and making some rules about how faithless electors can get selected by state legislators without expressing the will of the people? Yeah, we'll have 4 years to talk about that before the next presidential election. But for right now, the anxiety that you're feeling about this is well-founded. I mean, he's told us out loud that he doesn't want to recognize the election, that it's all phony, that it's all fake, that it's all fixed, that they're stealing ballots, blah blah blah. He's telling you all those things to set up legal arguments for stopping the count. Okay, so there's the anxiety, and that's where my anxiety is. And you may not share it, but people are calling me and messaging me and clutching my arm at Mishi's dinner table to ask about those questions. And what you can do is take action.
Yes. You can take action. Whatever you do, don't finish watching this with us.
Okay.
Just kidding. You should.
Again, like Kathy Brinkman, I want to address the specific on that. I read something scary this morning which said if no one wins enough electoral votes, the Senate decides. Is that true? Listen, go to the Radiolab website and listen to that podcast. Now, it's not going to make you feel better about how all this is happening, but it lays out specifically the exact process that you're talking about. So if you want to know, that's who I was. I was guilty of arm clutchings. Definitely was not clutching my arm. So if you want to know how it will happen, if it's going to happen, that's what you need to listen to. Like that's for me, that's anxiety relieving. Like what's going on in my head or what I'm reading online by people who are not part of the process is not helpful because I'm spinning my wheels. I'm spinning their wheels. They're spinning my wheels. If I'm reading about the actual procedures and processes that are in place, if this goes horribly wrong, then at least I know what can happen and what can't happen. Right. So it's actually a joint session of the House and Senate if it comes down to this, the electoral argument. So that means that it's not just the Senate, right, which is Republican controlled. It's the House and the Senate. So that's actually better news than you might think. Right. So.
Okay. So I want to show you guys what it's going to take for Trump to win.
I'll get that link up in just a minute, Sue.
There are 3 states that have to wait until election day to count mail-in ballots. That's bad, right? And so that's Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So we're going to start there. So let's let's turn those undecided for now. Okay, just for shits and giggles. So that means that like the electoral vote on day one is going to be, it could potentially skew for Trump in those states, right? Because they're actually going to have results, whereas vote by mail they're not going to have for days or weeks or whatever the fuck. Now, in fact, because they're going to be a while, let's leave them off the table for now. Or actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just give them all to Trump. Oh no, we're so screwed now. North Carolina is what Wall Street is saying they're all looking at, because they're counting right now. They're going to be more or less counted right up until the day of, and it's going to be, we're going to be able to kind of track, are the polls actually accurate, right? So they're actually going to be trading off of how North Carolina goes, because it will tell us a lot of potential things about how the rest of the race is going to be going. Right now, it's a 2.4% race, right? So let's assume that the polls are off by 3 points for this, just to see what happens. All right. Can you hold me to that, Greg?
What?
The polls are off by 3 points.
Okay.
Just in general, we also lose those other 3 states because they've stolen it. So that means he squeaks out a win in North Carolina.
Yeah, some people cannot see the numbers on the map here, so I don't know if
that's fine. You're gonna have to
do about that.
Yeah. Just make your screen as big as you possibly can.
Oh,
There's not really any way for me to fix that. Okay, so cool. I mean, not cool. That fucking sucks. But whatever. What are you gonna do? Was that Indiana over there, or is that Iowa? I can never tell. Fucking Indiana.
Where are you looking at? The brown one? That's Iowa. Indiana's bright red.
Okay. Where's Iowa right now? And for the record, guys, I think the polls are accurate. I really do. There's not really any reason to think that they aren't. So that's 1 point race. Okay, we'll give that to him too. Ohio. I think that's actually pretty close as well. And again, this is like polls are off historically bad. Again. Oh no. Georgia.
While you're doing that, Donna's asking, where can I go to see if it's been counted? PascoVotes.com, but you can also sign up for notifications where they'll send you an email or a text when your vote is counted. I know a lot of us early voted and we're anxious. How come I haven't got a note that my vote's been counted yet? They didn't start counting till yesterday.
Right.
And there was extraordinarily heavy VBM turnout. So it's going to be a few days. Don't panic about that. Right. So it doesn't mean your vote isn't going to count. It just means they didn't start counting them until Monday. So yesterday.
So again, this is because again, Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania are all well outside the margin of error wins, right? But this is assuming that this is the steal it methodology, right? The polls have to be more than 3 points going for Trump, right?
Right.
And again, this means that's straight across the board, and they haven't fixed anything in polling. And I don't believe that at all, but it's possible, right? So this is what they're looking at. This is how they're trying to do it. They have to make sure that Wisconsin and Michigan don't have any vote by mail results, and they have everybody in the streets. And Pennsylvania is the same way, where they're basically trying to figuring out how to steal it that way, right? So this is what they're ignoring to kind of make this argument. The turnout in Texas is fucking insane, like deeply, deeply insane. 2 million people have voted in Texas out of what's projected to be an 11 million or 12 million person vote. 2 million people have voted in Texas already that have never voted in Texas before.
That's an astonishingly high number.
That is fucked up is what that is.
Exit polling of people who have early voted in Texas between the age of 18 and 29 is something like 5-1 for Biden.
Right.
Okay, so there's a lot of undercurrent numbers that you don't see when you watch Kornacki at the big board or any of that. that's showing us that turnout is high and turnout is leaning towards Biden, and leaning is probably a pessimistic term for it.
Greg, if you've got anything using network bandwidth on your computer,
I really don't. I have nothing on but my.
Sometimes it's just.
I can jump out and jump back in, maybe.
Try that. That's probably worth trying.
All right, so let me leave. I'll come right back.
Okay,
I promise.
Okay, okie dokie. There is extremely competitive races going on in Georgia for the Senate, and turnout is jacked. He loses even more. Right. So let me put it this way. Giving these back up. So he definitely can't lose Texas. If he loses Texas, he's completely fucked. Right? Let's assume he doesn't. Georgia, I don't think is quite enough. But if it's Georgia and say Wisconsin, stealing it didn't work. Well, now he's screwed again. Right? So like I guess the biggest thing is literally everything has to go right for the Trump administration all in a row. And again, that's not to say that it can't. It's just to say that it's really fucking unlikely.
Testing 1, 2, 3. We good?
Yeah, that sounded great.
Okay. All right. So, shoot, I got to get the feedback on YouTube. Give just a second here.
Yeah, Dave, and that's an interesting point. Dave said, what I do know, though, is there are whole sections of right-wing Reddit that talk about intentionally skewing results to give Dems false numbers. So that's a thing. That's always a possibility, right? Like the whole like the secret, internal polls or whatever. And what they really mean is they're using polls from like fucking OAN.com or some stupid bullshit. I don't buy that. I really don't. Like in 2016. We all know that we missed how many more votes there were. Totally legit. We started kind of seeing it the week beforehand. I started getting worried like 4 or 5 days beforehand because we just didn't think that we could lose. And then suddenly it was like, oh shit, what happens if we do? And the polling was tightening. It was all, suddenly within the margin of error, and that was worrying. Right? Now, I mean, where are those people? Those people are all fucking super loud. Right? The Republicans have done decently well. I think they beat us in a couple of states really, narrowly in registrations over the last 2 years. But in 2018, we fucking slaughtered them with registrations, like by, probably 20, 30%. So I guess the biggest thing for me is like Texas's possibility. We'll leave it off here for a minute. But Florida, I hate getting excited about Florida because, I mean, we live here. It's fucking dumb, right? But here
we know.
Right? Like, Florida's fucking stupid. Like, Florida's why we can't have nice things, in a lot of ways. But here's the two things that I can't get away from. 3 things, actually. Number 1, the Lincoln Project. Do we think that it's possible that 5 to 10% of Republicans are like, fuck this fucking noise, this guy sucks, right? And among them will be suburban Republican women who are leaving in droves. That's just like a statistical fact that we know. So that's number 1. Number 2, old people are skewing for Biden. What the fuck? That makes no sense. You don't win Florida without old people. So that's a whole thing. And the data that we have seen, I've seen it from 3 different places. I still want to see way more, but all of the data says that independents are swinging for Biden by 10 to 15 points. You don't win Florida remotely, even a little bit, if any 3 of those things are true, and all 3 of those things are probably true.
So I think one of the things that happens is we're making some assumptions. Okay. And one of the assumptions we're making is that all of the Republican turnout is going for Trump in Florida. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's true. Right. If his approval rating is 90% above among Republicans, that would indicate just on that 10% of those Republican votes on election day are going either not to vote or vote third party or vote for Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Okay. But that's only the people that are answering these approval polls. I think there are probably a lot of Republicans in the weeds that aren't talking about this at all. because they don't want to be called a commie or a fag by their friends. Okay, so that's one thing. We know that Trump, in order to win Florida, has to win all the Republicans and half of the independents and some Democrats. And I don't think that that's stacking up for him right now. I don't think he's going to get all the Republicans. And I have some inside dope that I can't disclose that he's not getting half of the independents. It's not even close. Okay. And we know he's damn sure he's not getting any Democrats. He's getting your crazy wackadoodle neighbor Democrat who doesn't pay any attention and just wants to piss people off by voting for Trump. That's the only Democrats he's getting are the the flatulent, crazy 1,000 bumper stickers on their car kind of Democrats. And that's a significantly tinier number than the 10% that openly don't approve of him as president. So I don't, I'm trying not to be overly optimistic or have any kind of false optimism. I learned my lessons about that. Yeah, but there's some indicators here. There's a current here that's flowing Biden's way in Florida.
Everywhere, every single where.
Right. Well, but I'm getting, I know people that are in the trenches in Florida that are doing the polling, that are seeing polling results. I don't think it's going his way.
No.
Record numbers of people in red counties are voting blue. Record numbers of people in Collier and Sumter County are voting blue. Now, granted, they won't beat the margin because those are very red counties. But if they're turning out there,
right? It's just that's indicative, right? Like that's we're looking for signs that in is this election going to be a massive turnout election? The answer to that is yes.
All right. Casey Marion brings up a really good point. Go ahead. Finish, and I'll read her comment.
No, that's it. There's just, I think, and we've elucidated a bunch of them. And I got a clip I want to play actually from the Lincoln product because we're going to want to, anyway, it's not really about this. It's about after. Assuming.
Okay. Casey Marion, 2016 was a perfect storm type situation. All of it predicated on Bernie Sanders continuing to rail on for months after he had absolutely no chance of winning after Super Tuesday in early March. At that point, Bernie needed 80% of the remaining delegates to Hillary's 15. He constructed disinformation superhighways and others drove right down. That's exactly correct. And that didn't happen this time. Bernie was out for Biden from March. So there was no controversy or confusion about who the nominee would be. We had a lot more time to consolidate around Joe Biden as our nominee. And that didn't happen in 2016. So Casey Marion has that one exactly right. And as I brought up, I only said it because Ginny had that that comment. So credit to her. Nobody says all these Republicans are voting for Trump. I think that's also a pretty solid get. That's a thing we can say with some confidence. So, yeah,
yes, indeed. I like this little bump over here.
What do you got? Oh yeah.
I think this actually includes this has to include Texas, the most likely outcome. And again, this is like amortized over like a bunch of likely outcomes, so it's not.
They do hundreds of model runs.
Yeah, it's not really that indicative. Where 5 times out of 100, it's 300. 5 times out of 100, it's 3. And like 8 times out of 100, it's 406. Right, which includes. I just basically drew out the map: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. The Senate predictions. I mean, they're good. We could do that. Right now, they've got it at 70%, if I'm not mistaken. It's the least likely of the House, the presidential, or the other one, the House. The House
Senate.
Yeah, exactly. That the thing that we're talking about. Yeah, so this is the winding path to victory. This is actually pretty useful. Georgia. Again, these are all the states that he absolutely categorically has to win or he's fucked. Right? Texas he has to win. That race is actually now exactly tied in the average of polls. They've got the forecast still up because of it's been a Republican machine for so long. And actually, I was listening to 538. They said that they have it as still likely Trump, specifically because of voter suppression does anyone feel like voter suppression is working in Texas? Because I fucking don't. Anyway, Ohio 1-point race. He absolutely categorically has to win that. Period. Iowa, dead even. He's got to win that or he loses the whole thing. Right? Georgia, same thing. Biden's actually up by 0.2 in Georgia as far as a potential on their forecast.
I want to remind people that this is happening despite intense voter suppression efforts in Georgia and Texas. And what we've done is crush turnout. Despite that, it's made people angry enough to get out and vote that normally wouldn't. Like, I make this analogy when I'm talking about anger and anger management. Somebody draws a line on the dirt and says, don't you dare cross this line. I'm going to step right the fuck over it. And that's essentially what voters in Texas and Georgia have been doing. They've been saying, I will take my snacks and my water, sit in a folding chair for 10 fucking hours to vote, you assholes. That's what's happening. And that's not just happening in those two states, although that's where we've seen the most intensive voter suppression pressure. At least that's what's got the national attention. So that's happening everywhere. Look at the number of people in your county. If you live here in Pasco County, everybody I know is voting. I'm not hearing from a lot of people. I'm just not going to go this time. Both sides suck. I'm not hearing a lot of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Dave said you're talking about Florida and Texas, and I don't want to get excited about Florida because again, it will disappoint. But Biden is not trailing in Florida. The last polls +2, +2, +2, +4. There's one Rasmussen poll, which is a Republican poll, and everyone fucking laughs at them all the time. That has Trump up by 4. Fine, right? But then also +7, +4, +2 for Biden. Biden's ahead in Florida. Let's be real. Right? For all the reasons that we've elucidated, we're ahead in Florida. Does that mean we're going to win Florida? No. That means that 2 out of 3 times we're going to win Florida. And, fucking Florida. Kathy Brinkman hasn't voted yet?
She was up thread. She's having some anxiety issues that everybody's voted but Kathy Brinkman. So
that's not cool.
I get her reasoning, but the way to get past that is action. Yeah. And the action that you can take to change that anxiety is to turn in that ballot. Get it done. And then help other people. And then start calling other people and ask them, why I voted, why haven't you? I have terrible anxiety and MS. Why haven't you voted? That's what you can do, Kathy.
100%. Yeah. I would say that the average polls in Florida is a strong +2. And again, in a high turnout scenario, that's not going to be good for Republicans. It just won't. And again, I think they destroyed themselves with the vote by mail and like telegraphing that the mail-in ballots are going to be screwed because nobody's going to mail in a ballot today, right? I mean,
they better not. Please don't.
I mean, that's the thing. Somebody will, but generally speaking, it's not going to happen. Because at least for people that have been paying attention to this stuff. So yeah, and the high turnout situation, already is really really fantastic for Democrats. And I mean, the pandemic is going to be probably 3 times worse than it is right now in a week. At least twice as bad in a week.
Right.
It's going to suppress turnout on the day. And that's the day that all the Republicans are supposed to be going
Here's a place where Corey and I disagree. Trump supporting shitheads are out there breaking the COVID rules and making each other sick for early bird specials at Denny's.
Not all of them.
And for trips to Walmart. And for Trump rallies, the diehard Trump supporters are not going to stay home on voting day because of COVID.
Assuming that we were dead even, which we are not. Assuming that we were dead even and that there was no other good news for Democrats at all, right? Our candidates universally, disliked in the middle, and there's all this narrative, whatever, right? 2016, 1% of Republicans stay home, we win. Do you think there's 1 out of 100 Republicans that are like, oh shit, COVID's a problem? Yes. Those are all the old people that are skewing for Biden now.
Right.
So it doesn't take a lot. We don't need 20% of Republicans. We need 1% of Republicans to stay home, and we win Florida.
That's probably pretty accurate.
Right. And we win Florida by probably an extra point because it looks like we're winning it anyway. This is the other thing I want to say.
They might stay home because they know in their heart he's a shithead. Corey, that's what I think. Yeah. I don't think they'll stay home because of COVID. I think they'll stay home because in that quiet moment to themselves, they'll be ashamed to have voted for him.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Yeah, I think that's a positive. Yeah, the casual Trump. And this is the thing. How many times do we hear, the magical Obama Trump voter, or like people that just, wanted to vote for Trump or whatever. They wanted to vote for him because maybe he'll do okay. Because they didn't do their homework. They didn't know that like this guy's a raging fucking radioactive, pile of shit.
right.
Well, now we know, right? You can't get away from the fact that every day has been an abject total fucking failure for this presidency, and that sinks in. And yes, we're all going to be anxious about it. And like I know, I'm sort of taking the side of like just looking at how hard it is. The pathway for Trump to win right now, he needs like 10% like new voters magically that have never been heard from before, including on top of the people that showed up for him in 2016 to win now. And he doesn't have them. They don't exist. Right. Now, am I 100% certain of that? Of course not. I'm not fucking stupid. But I think 85% certain of that. Yeah, kind of. Now, all that being said, I am as anxious as every one of you guys is, and I haven't slept for more than 4 hours in a week. So I'm making this case right now because I think it's important for us to understand they won a fucking squeaker last time, and there's absolutely no evidence anywhere that they're gonna win that way again. In all of my, I just don't see it.
Right. Following up on what Virginia asked, would weather negatively or positively affect the day of turnout, and for the positive, to which party? Corey answers that question.
All day.
I think Democrats are more motivated to vote no matter what, and we're seeing that. First day of early voting in South Florida and Miami, it was torrentially raining, and there were people lined up around the block to vote. So I don't think that stops any of us from voting.
The Republicans are expecting to make up all of their ground, like a 20 to 30% deficit, right? They're expecting to make that up on election day.
Now, and I will also caution you that if you're looking at Pasco County's results, they are making up that difference. But Trump won Pasco County by like 20 points in 2016. So, so some counties are going to continue to show red, and that can be appalling and discouraging if you're looking at just those counties. But I think turnout overall is absolutely favoring us, and I think it will continue to do so. I'm just not sure that they get this overwhelming red tide, and that's not an accident that I chose to use that term on election day.
Yes. To Lori's question, no, I can't, and that's why I do this.
Right.
But my target is to count for 10 votes of people that I get out to the polls every season.
But Corey's wife is a voter, and her family are voters, and his friends are voters, and his audience are voters. So, I always get ready to punch people when they go after Corey for not being a voter here. He's a resident here for many, many years. He's married to an American. His life is American. He has a stake in this, just like you do, just like I do. And
I don't think she's going after me.
I know, but he has a backup country, and yet he stays. So, points for showing up, buddy.
Sherry. Okay, so on to, we've been having this ongoing discussion about what the Lincoln Project is going to do with their battleship level guns. Should we?
Oh
win?
yeah, Lori, I knew you weren't going after him, but some people do, and I always get like ready to fight over that when I sense it.
Which is adorable, by the way. I wanted to share this with you guys. Just to tell you how much politics I'm taking in, I'm listening to Morning Joe now.
What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, dude, I can't stop. Like I seriously, like I've every I'm into like 12 hours a day, and it's not good for your health. But check this out.
The election's pretty close now, right? And people are starting to set their sights on what happens after, and particularly what happens after with you guys. You've came together with a singular focus, which was to try to get rid of Donald Trump. but it seems on the basis of what we've been reading in Axios this morning and other places that you guys have a longer-term ambition now that goes beyond, in terms of advocacy, goes beyond just beating Donald Trump and goes to some larger ideological aims, and also commercially has some greater aims for what your future at Lincoln is. So why don't you talk about both those things? Like, what's life after Trump like for the Lincoln Project?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I think like the rest of us who are dedicated to beating him, we've got 7 more days to go until Election Day, right? And so every last minute of those 7 days is going to be focused on that. I think that when it comes to what we want to do as an organization past Election Day, when Donald Trump is defeated, remember that last December we said that it's defeating Donald Trump and Trumpism. Trumpism isn't going away. It's a virus within the American body politic, within the Republican Party. And there are a lot of adherents to it. There's going to be a lot of folks who will start the 2024 presidential campaign on the Republican side who will use its ugliness and the heat and what I would call depth of the people on the Republican side to try and get that inside straight on the Republican primary. Donald Trump's going to have his own media company. I think from our perspective, it's going to be about serving as a coalition partner to Joe Biden as he tries to get this country back on its feet. It's going to serve as a convener of organizations. I feel like we've had a real opportunity to bring different groups together, whether or not it's conservatives, whether or not it's progressives and liberals. And I think that we need to start the common conversation in this country. And then I think from our perspective, too, we've got to get back to the fundamentals of democracy, a Voting Rights Act, a Civil Rights Act, election security. And if
The Voting Rights Act, the
That's
Civil Rights
fascinating
Act,
to me.
election security. That's it, right? When he said those 3 lines and they're bringing everyone together, that's fine. But the second he said that, I'm like, oh, Greg needs to hear this.
Yeah, that's
It's huge, right?
that's something Republicans have not stood for in the last 40 years.
Right. I mean, they call themselves the Lincoln Project. So, you know.
start to push back against what I call the Trump, Bannon, Facebook, OANN, Fox News doom loop through different channels, then that's what we're going to do in the next 2, 4, 6, 8 years. This fight's not going to be over anytime soon.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on.
Yeah, Maria said I'm unliking the Lincoln Project 36 seconds after Donald's defeat. I'm not. Like, I'm here for it. I've had a suspicion, and it's went up 300% this morning listening to this, that because again, they're right. Like, Trumpism, that authoritarianism is not going away. That fight is still going to be needed, and they're carving out that niche, right? So I think they're positioning themselves to be, because I think
The
Trump
new
is
Republican Party.
well, even like the a different kind of media operation, because I think Trump's going to buy OAN, or position himself as the head of OAN to compete with Fox, right? So like MSNBC is still going to be the news, CNN's still going to be the news. Hell, fucking Fox News is even going to be more of the news, because OAN's just going to be complete fucking dog shit 24 hours a day, and the Lincoln Project will be positioned to fight hard,
right?
Against the kind of stupidity.
While OANN is on the table, and we won't give them more than 30 seconds of our time. I have not watched the Borat movie, but what I know is that Sacha Baron Cohen managed to get himself as Borat and the actress playing his daughter, the reporter, into the White House.
I think it was just the reporter
without a background check.
Yeah,
no, he was there.
He was there.
Oh, no, that's wrong. He did get himself into a fundraiser where he shook hands with Donald Trump Jr.
Yes.
Right? That's how bad their security and their background checking are. That an actor in a known hostile with a known hostile viewpoint managed to manipulate OAN into getting her into the White House, to the press room of the White House. If Sacha Baron Cohen, an effete British film director, can do that, what do you think that trained Russian KGB operatives can do? Have done.
Yeah, exactly.
Chinese
with Rudy Giuliani. That's the thing. Like, every single possible opportunity to run a thirst trap for these clowns, they've done it and it's worked.
Yeah.
Look, we just know it. Yep. Dave is wrong. It does not suck at all. I mean, it's terrifying, gross, and sad.
Right.
But so
I put a good clip on the So Local Live page yesterday of Sacha Baron Cohen explaining why he does what he does, and it's absolutely worth watching. Even if you don't find the movie funny, right? Even if you don't find comedic value in it, what he's doing is super, super important. You know, Charlie Chaplin made a film ridiculing Hitler. That was important. It's important that you use your artistic value, your artistic creative drive to expose anti-Semitism, racism, sexism, all the isms that we want to end in our country. And Sacha Baron Cohen is really good at that.
So looks like Canada's going housing first. This is Justin Trudeau. No Canadian should ever be without a place to call home. That's why we're launching the new Rapid Housing Initiative, which will help eliminate chronic homelessness in Canada. And then they talk about whatever. Mom actually just shared that on the Twitter machine. So
yep, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's not terrible.
All right.
So yeah, if we win North Carolina, it's gonna be a good fucking night. I think that's basically, boiling it down. We're gonna know that by 6:30, very likely. And so, we'll know if we're in for a slog and to drink or imbibe every possible, or maybe do that anyway. I don't know. We all kind of need it.
Let's be clear that North Carolina themselves will not release their results till after all the polls are closed, but there will be a lot of exit polling that indicates how it's gone. So, we'll know, but we won't know the official story until quite a bit later. I think we need to say this. I know we all want an election on a result on election day. I don't think we're going to have it. I think we're going to have a sense that it's been an overwhelming victory, but that's not an official decision. We all went to bed in 2016 on election night thinking Hillary had it in the bag.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
You want to have a little bet?
Sure.
I think we're going to know election night.
The only way we would know is if Trump conceded on election night, and that's absolutely not going to happen.
Okay, no. That I can't control, nor would I want to. The major news networks will announce a winner election night. Like, I think that's
I'm not taking that bet. I think they probably will, but they've been wrong before.
No. Like, and they'll be right by a lot. Like,
okay.
Yeah, that's my guess. And again, like, I'm not going to bet $1 gazillion because I don't have that, but I think we're going to know. I really do. And if we win North Carolina, that'll sort of be the thing. And if we win North Carolina by a little bit outside the polls for Biden, then my whole theory that this, massive turnout plus COVID being a fucking nightmare means that the polls for Biden are actually wrong. And it's worse for Trump.
But Chet, look at troublemaker. Bet. I'm not. But I do think that there's a lot of room for disappointment here. Because Casey Marion is exactly right. We won't know until after the Electoral College vote decides. And I'm not confident about how that's going to go. That's where all my anxiety is.
That we can't do anything about. So let's just never think about that again.
I don't know.
God damn it. Again, like
don't think of a purple elephant. Whatever you do, don't.
So no, you have to replace it with a fantastic Democratic win zebra. Like if we win Texas, we're not gonna have a fight about the Electoral College. We just won't. They won't certify it.
All right.
Now, again, when I'm saying that, am I saying that with 100% certainty? Fuck no, I'm not.
Well, that's why it's called gambling.
I get it. Like like, is it possible? I mean, anytime we ask the question, is it possible that he loses technically by 406 Electoral College votes and then just makes it up out of fucking whole cloth? Of course he's gonna try that. We know that. But it really, he's going to lose the Senate anyway, right? Because they can't control that. And then we just impeach the motherfucker 5 seconds later because fuck you. Welcome to democracy.
See, now Jeremy's making it interesting. Loser of the bet shaves facial hair. See, I'm never afraid to shave my facial hair.
So this is the thing, like,
do it.
Can I have until 2 o'clock in the morning on election night? Technically, it's still like.
Yeah, I mean, well, are we saying that the networks are going to call it?
Yes, networks call it. I won't take that back
because I think you're right.
All right,
but I think there's quite a bit of potential that they're wrong.
Oh no! I mean, okay. if they call it, they're right. Like even on election night.
In any normal election.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If they call it because 3 states, like if they call it and it looks by the end of election night at 2:00 in the morning, not only have they called it, but it's like not 270, it's like 300 plus, then it's over. Right? It'll be over. Now, that might not be likely because of fucking Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. But the thing is, like, with Wisconsin and Michigan, we might know anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Even with them doing the vote by mail with all the breakdown stuff, like if we're winning anyway because of the massive early vote turnout, that's going to be a shit show. Anyway.
And if 2020 has taught us anything, shit show is the most likely outcome.
I know. And this is the thing, right? Like all of our anxiety is deserved. We know this. Like it's not like we're making this shit up. It's just like when you step back from the anxiety, all you see is good news for Biden and fucking terrible news for Trump.
Right.
So in a world where elections still are working the same way, and there's no guarantee of that, obviously, Biden's going to win, right? It's just a matter of like, is it by enough to make the shenanigans not work? And I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that it will be good that way. Right. But again, we're not going to know until the day of.
Regardless of all this arguing about the bet, I just want us to all be prepared to go to bed on election night.
Yeah.
Or stay up for the next 5 days.
Like 3 weeks. Fuck sleep. Who needs it?
I think there's a strong possibility we don't know on election night. And I want us all to be prepared for that. Yeah. And I want us all to be prepared, those of us who have never gone out in the street and protested anything, to be ready. Because if it's clear that the election has gone Biden's way and they don't certify it, they don't it doesn't look like he's moving toward leaving the White House, we're all going to need to be in the street. We're all going to need to be in the street.
And guess stoppage, what? The whole 9 yards.
And guess what? Our African-American friends and our friends who are people of color have been training for this all year. Right? So we're going to know exactly, how to protest effectively based on what's happened all this year because of our friends in the Black Lives Matter movement. So,
yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Hillary did win by 3 million votes. Just saying. 2020 in a nutshell. Don't burn your genitals when you're crouching over the dumpster fire to shit on it. I mean, that's just good advice.
You'd hope we'd remember that lesson for the next 40 years or so. Yeah. So we don't have this happen again in 24 or 28 or 32. Oh my God. By which time there should be people on Mars. So that'll be cool.
Indeed.
So there's a crack in the moon.
Yeah, I heard about that from you. There's way more water than they allowed on the moon, though.
There's water on the surface on the moon,
which is way cooler.
In sunny spots, which is kind of a shock.
Did they say in sunny spots? I thought it was just in the shade.
No, it's in a crater on the bright side that they can see it from reflected light. Yeah.
How's it not boiling away?
I don't know. That means there's a lot more of it under there than they thought, and it's just, maybe you're right.
Like it's a big, huge fucking iceberg. All the way down. Fucking turtles.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be awesome. Okay, well, I've been drinking coffee and water like my life depended on it, so I'm going to go pee.
Thanks for that update.
Yep. Thank you guys very much for joining for this. Like, I hope to, like, again, other than stealing it, which may work, and we always have to be ready for that, they have nothing. Like literally, they're fucked.
Other than cheating their way into it,
right?
We're gonna be all right.
Or unless there's magically like millions and millions of secret Trump cultist voters that didn't exist in 2016.
Yeah, shy Trump voters is what they're counting on.
And yeah. I just don't buy it.
I mean, are the Trump supporters in your community shy? Yeah. They're not shy in my community, right? So I don't think they're real.
Right. And there might be a few more of them, but we're winning old people and white women in fucking Florida. Huh? Come on.
As Barack would say, what? Even Florida man wouldn't do this stuff.
Yeah. So what happens when Iran, Russia, and China hack our systems and Trump calls a recount? I mean,
recounts will always favor us.
That's
Full stop.
A general probability for that, and this is where having all the states run their own elections is kind of good, right?
Right.
And a lot of those states are on the lookout for this stuff. Not all of them, obviously. Like Texas would probably just let it happen because they're fucking Texas. So again, like we don't know what we don't know, and that's always a possibility. Again, like I am still aware that I don't know how fucked up it could be this time with stuff that we haven't seen. We don't know what's coming, right? Because we keep thinking, like in all of our heads, all of your heads, I know you're still fighting 2016. And I get it, because I'm there too. But it could be one of two things. It could be way fucking better for us. And all the evidence right now says that. It literally says it out loud. Like we might win Texas for real. And that's really fucked up.
We might win the Texas legislature,
which is great.
The state legislature.
Texas might be ours for 50 years. Cool. Yeah. We have the Senate. We'll do the, Chuck Schumer talking about expanding the.
Yeah, you can't.
Nobody's
you can make an
around.
argument. You can make an argument that in Pennsylvania or Michigan that there's a backlash that turns it red temporarily. But Texas, when it goes blue, will be blue forever because it's getting younger and more diverse all the time.
Yeah.
If Texas goes blue, it'll be a blue state for all of our lives.
Very likely. Which is crazy. It means and this is the thing, like Puerto Rico, DC, 4 more senators, we're going to, not only are we going to expand the court, but they're never going to get the Senate back to change it. Go fuck yourself is what everyone will say to them forever.
Yeah.
Whenever they open their mouths about anything. So, and this is a real possibility. We don't know how fucked up shit is. Ivanka literally owns all the voting machines now, apparently, right? Not really, but maybe that's the case, and we just don't know it yet. There is this stuff that we don't know. There's always going to be that, and it's frustrating, and that should make everyone anxious. But I'm still comfortable being an evidence-based thinker and making presumptions about the things that I can see in exactly the same way I did in 2016, which is why I started saying Trump could win days in advance.
Right.
Trump can't win right now. That's not a thing, right? Unless, again, he's planning on stealing it in a much smarter and more conniving way than we've ever seen him do in the past, which I don't believe.
All right.
Here's hoping I'm right.
So look at my tagline. Anxiety means you care. That means you don't feel privileged enough to just sit this one out and feel like everything's going to be fine regardless of who wins. Yeah. And I respect and commend you for that.
This is the thing. Remember in 2016, everyone was like, you can't win. Fuck it. Do you know any Democrat who feels that way? Republicans who think COVID is real. Do you think any of them are sitting it out? They're not. Anyway.
Yep. So yeah, that's all we wanted to talk about today. We just felt like we needed to come on and talk about anxiety and what you can do to curb it. That is, get yourself involved. Get your ballot to where it's got to go. Help your friends get their ballots where they've got to go. Get on a mailing list or a text banking or phone list with your local Democratic Party organization, and I can hook you up with those people if you message me and start text banking, phone banking. Have you turned in your ballot? Have you turned in your ballot? Have you turned in your ballot? That's what it's all about right now. Yeah.
That's just true.
How fucking sick is that?
It's really sick. If you haven't listened to or watched Chris Hayes from last night, I would go do it. It's just basically like they got this hyper partisan judge on the Supreme Court, and the price of that was about 150,000 human lives. And then they had a party at the White House, which is another thing that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Also, I think somebody just stepped on the TV remote in the living room. Yep, I gotta go.
They turned on Animal Planet because that's what dogs do.
They're watching something.
Squirrel.
Sense. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, thank you guys very much for joining. If anyone sees anything, actual evidence that you think means that Trump will win, I am scouring the internet, and Casey Marion has been scouring the internet. She's the person I go to. Like when I need like a countervailing data point of view, like I went to Casey and I asked her, "Is there anything I'm missing? Like what does Trump have that is going to make it likelier for him to win?" And you know what she said? Nothing.
There you go. So Casey, if this goes potty, it's all your fault.
100%. We're putting it right on our shoulders.
All right, we're back tomorrow at 10. We're going to do the regular show tomorrow at 10. Friday morning at 10 o'clock, Jessica Stempian, who is running for county commission here in Pasco County, against Catherine Starkey, will be our guest for about a half hour. It'll be a chance to get to know her. I know a lot of us have already voted, but we want the word out there for people who are voting on Election Day. Please don't wait. Actually, early voting in Pasco ends at 7 p.m. on Halloween on Saturday. Don't wait. I went by the Regency Park Branch Library last night at 6:45. There were still people waiting outside to vote. At 7 o'clock in the evening, there were people lined up to vote. Awesome. This is good. The turnout is good. So we love you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed our bonus show. And Sasquatch is real. We're back tomorrow.
Yeah, and also we'll probably be back Thursday too, because I needed to hang out with you guys.
I may not make it Thursday.
That's fine.
I have a lot of.
It's fine. If anybody wants to join me, Fred or Ginny or anyone who wants to join me live, I might I'll just post it in the thing and let anyone who wants to come in.
Right on. Maybe somebody will get naked. It's happened before.
See, this is why I love Casey Marion. I already know that if this thing goes south, it is my fault for not obsessing enough. how you can spot family in the hashtag coffee community.
That's it. That's why we're still here.
It's where we're at.
Lots of days we didn't want to do this anymore. Lots of days, but it's beginning to feel like, oh, I'm sure glad we stayed in.
Yeah, it was. We needed to do it.
Yeah,
I can't wait for Tuesday because I really want this to be over so bad.
I know. I want to take a month off,
or just have a month where we review bad books or something.
Maybe this will help some of you. But
oh god,
3 days in the last 2 weeks, I've slept 8 hours plus and slept till 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, which has never happened to me since this administration started. So it's a sign that I'm feeling a little bit better about things.
That's good. I'm literally going to pee myself. So I'm going to go say the thing again one more time.
Well, because you didn't let me say it yesterday. So I'm just going to keep you here as long as possible until you wet your pants. Sasquatch is real.